We've looked at how to solve quadratic equations. Now we want to move on to solving some other types of equations and talk about the rules that will let us get to these solutions. We want to start this off by looking at equations with rational exponents. For example, the first problem we have is z to the 1/2 power is equal to 3. What we need to do is still just isolate z by itself like we would with a linear equation, a quadratic equation. But it looks a little bit weird since we have this rational exponent raised to the 1/2 power. But notice that if we square this result, properties of exponents tell us that this would become z to the 1/2 power times 2, which is the same thing as 2 over 1, meaning these 2's would cancel, and we'd be left with just z by itself. What that means is we want to raise both sides of this equation to the reciprocal of whatever that rational exponent is. So instead of raising this to the 1/2 power, we want to raise it to the 2nd power or the 2 over 1 power. On the left-hand side, this will end up being just z. And on the right-hand side, we'll have 3 squared, or 9. So our solution here would be z is equal to 9. In example 2, we'll take exactly the same approach. We'll look at whatever that rational exponent is, in this case 3/4, and raise both sides of the equation to the reciprocal power, so 4/3. The left-hand side of the equation will become just 1, since those fractions will multiply together and reduce to 1. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we would have 27 to the 4/3 power. We could maybe figure this out in our heads. It's not terribly complicated, but you're also welcome to use a basic or scientific calculator to evaluate this, and this would come out to be x equals 81 as our solution. In example 3, we have a more complicated expression on the left-hand side, but the same principle still applies. We'll raise both sides to the 4/5 power, which will leave us with c minus 4 is equal to 1024 to the 4/5 power, or c minus 4 is equal to 256. Then adding 4 to both sides will give us c is equal to 260. If you're not sure how to evaluate those expressions raised to rational exponents, now unfortunately every calculator is a little bit different. I can't show you every scenario, but for instance, in example 3, we had 1024 raised to the 4/5 power. If you have an x to the y key, that means we're taking a number we've already entered to a power. So we would press that and enter 4 divided by 5 and close those parentheses. Mine's already giving us the answer of 256. If you don't have that x to the y power, well, actually, to do this with a calculator, you'll have to have that x to the y power. The other way to do it would be to type in the 1024 and first raise it to the 1/5 power. So that's taking the 5th root of 1024, and then you can raise that to the 4th power to get the 256. Again, every calculator is a little bit different. You can also figure those out by hand. It just might take a little longer to figure out what number you would have to multiply together 5 times to get 1024. But again, a basic or scientific calculator can get that result for you.